is still just as good as the top player now, or should I say the other way around, the top players now are just as good as the top players then. The fall off is that next player, that next level player is not right behind that top player like it used to be. That next level player is a few notches down. And that gap has to be bridged somehow by starting young. These baby ball coaches get in the gym and they don't put in the proper work to get those kids ready. So that best player is going to be that best player no matter who she's with. It's that next group that doesn't surface until later sometimes never at all, because the teaching is not done at the young age. So they're getting to these high schools with so many deficiencies that they're actually got to play because some of the kids underneath them are even worse. So that best player is just the same. It's just that second player is so far away from the best player.
So basically what you're saying, they're starting too late or just really not good development?
Well, development and starting late, in certain areas, it's available to them so much earlier. But at the same time, that availability at that young age still has to be good. Just because it's available doesn't mean it's just there and you just do it. It has to be good. And that's where you get there. And you see certain areas, certain kids are always getting there. You always find certain schools or certain areas of the country with the same good players every year, and then some areas just never get it, or they might get one flash in the pan every once in a while. And it's got to come from teaching. I mean, there's no other way to assess it to. It's just teaching, and that's pretty much all it could be, is the teaching process is not in place to make sure it's fundamental sound from the day one all the way up to now. And the problem we have in the city is that it's not available to them enough, and that people don't go out and get it. A lot of times they use this word called resources, which I don't like, because the resource is always there. You have to go create some resources. And a lot of times people sit back and wait for the resources to come to them. That's just not how you resource. Be resourceful means you out there doing the work.
That's interesting. So you're basically saying, as far as all the new opportunities for girls basketball, you're seeing a lull in their development.
Yes, it's plenty more opportunities as there always been, hence the Title IX aspect of what we're trying to do. I mean, 1972 was not a long time ago. It's some people that even after 72 still didn't get the same treatment. And even until 2012, and the same treatment is still not there. But the opportunities are still a lot better, I think, than they have been. As far as compliances with Title IX, I mean, once you have a football team, then you're going to be out of compliance anyway. So being out of compliance is just something that's going to happen. But when you have those discrepancies, I mean, you got to get tighter in some other areas. And most of the time, people just low and say, "You're not giving me nothing, so I'm not going to do nothing." And most of the time, well, for me personally, and people that's even involved with what I'm trying to do, if it ain't given to us, we got to go get it. I mean, we're not expecting anything given to us, so we got to just go get it. You create your own resources, and that's how you become successful at this.
So if I'm a young parent, what would be the strategy that I would take to develop a very good female basketball player?
Well, the biggest thing is a lot of people know from this area anyway, the most learning you're really going to do is just by playing on your own. And this day and age, there's a lot of, crazy things going on. I mean, from people just walking into schools and just firing off guns and stuff. It's crazy, but it's just so many things going on. So people don't want their kids to go and be as free as it was when I was a kid. I mean, you see girls playing on the court all the time. Now you won't go outside and see kids. You're going to go to a gym and see a kid just out there just pick up basketball. I mean, it's 100,000 trainers, and out of the 100,000 of them, 999,000 of them really don't know what they're doing. Or they know they're doing because they're good business people, and they're making money, but they're not really getting these kids better. So what I would tell a parent is, find out this is something that they want to do at the highest level possible. And if they're doing it for fun, you still treat it the same way. People say they want to sign up for AAU when their kid gets serious. People say they want to sign up for it when they show some promise. And AAU is just three letters that don't really mean nothing. If you're not being taught, AAU is just a cover-up sometimes people use to get those kids, and they're not really developing them, because I use the analogy of if I got Susie and then Murray comes and Murray's better than Susie, I'm cutting Susie for Murray. But where's the development? If you keep Murray and you work hard with her, and you can still bring Susie on, they could be great teammates, and you have a great combo to get them better together. But we just such in a, I need it mentality all the time. Is they're not going to work with her, they're going to say you haven't gotten better, and they're going to go grab somebody else. This is happening at 9 and 10 years old. So they get caught in the development process, and they get shunned. And now the parents will go play for 3 and 4 different coaches, and they searching for either wins or some glory, and they keep forgetting every time you move, that's a setback because you got to learn another style of teaching. And even though basketball is the same sport across the board for girls, the teaching is still different. They got to get used to being taught a good way. And sometimes parents don't research it. They find out a gym that's by the house and don't have to travel that far, but they would travel 40 and 50 miles to a mall to go shopping. So if you're going to go shopping for your clothes that far, it's okay to go shopping that far for your basketball, because you got to treat it like it's a subject in school if you want to be good at it. All right? When the kids get struggling in math, you don't take them out of school. All right? You make sure they get better. You get them a tutor and everything like that. Kids struggling in basketball, you got to make them work harder at it and do a lot of things on their own. And I always say treat it like a school subject and you'll get the same thing out of it.
You know what, going into the academic portion of this, what do you say for the student athlete or the young lady who is not concentrating enough? Or just tell me what you feel that should be the balance of time between athletics and academics.
Well, as we know, to be good, when I say good, I mean D1 scholarship level good, because that's the highest level of college basketball that's available to us. To be good, you have to put in the work. And sometimes the work going to be 5 or 6 hours a day for some people. Sometimes people say work is only 20 to 30 minutes a day. If you put in a good, hard 90 minutes a day, that's pretty much all you really need. The problem is that you can work long and work wrong, all right? And sometimes you can work short, quick, and get it. Those are 2 little analogies that I like to use, rhymes, so to speak, so people can understand and get used to what I'm talking about. Is that those are things you got to start putting in your mind. You can work long and wrong, or you can work quick and get it, all right? And that's most of the time what you see. I mean, you could talk to an NBA player, and they could say they take 1,000 shots a day. If you really think about it, you say, wow, 1,000 shots, that doesn't take a long time. You just got to put that work, everything aside to get that done. In the same way you box your mind out to get better on the court, you got to box your mind out to get the class work done. You got to have study habits. You got to be prepared to work your own schedule. And I try to do that with my high school kids. I stay on them about the smallest of things, and that's kind of irritating to them sometimes. I don't involve the parents a lot when I speak to them about getting prepared and being on time and all this stuff, because at the next level, the college coach only talks to your parent when they're recruiting you. Once you're in their school, your parents don't matter. I mean, they don't call them for anything, and they can't call them for anything. So you got to be conscious of your time. You got to be able to manage your time. You got to know that you might have a 5 a.m. breakfast club practice, and you still got to go back to your dorm, shower, and get ready for class at 8 o'clock, and your butt got to be there. You got to be prepared for those things. And then after that, your leg's still hurting from practice, got to go to the next class. Your leg's still hurt, you got to be at afternoon practice. All right? If you cleared to play, you're going to have to be on the court running. If you're not, you still got to be there. All right? And those are time management skills that a lot of our kids lack, because they want to be such good basketball players. They will spend 8 hours playing basketball and 1 hour studying. And then we see a great player developing in this average student athlete. And sometimes you got to break the norm and say, I'm going to be good because I don't have to go 9 hours a day. Because like I said, you can work for a long time and do it wrong. You got to get it quick, get it in there, make sure you got a good regimen, work out every day, work out after practice, try to work out before, all right, get your little physical conditioning stuff in on your own, and it doesn't take a long time. And you got to hit the books just like you hitting the court. And a lot of people just, stop on the court and think, as long as I can play, I'll be able to get out there. And some school would take me. It's a lot of schools, and I talk to them a lot, that want some of these kids in our area so bad. But then they pull transcripts and say, this is amazing, I can't even take this kid. And she would make us a totally different team. But I can't take her because she doesn't do the other things we need to get her passed to be able to come to our school.
Well, but leading into this, putting together such a great tournament this year, for the future teams that might want to be involved with this, give some insight around the country of sports, what you might be looking for and what they might be in for once they come to the Title IX conference and class.
But what me coming aboard for this first year, our emphasis has pretty much been the presentation of what we're doing. Because ultimately it's a basketball tournament for the coaches and the players. I mean, ultimately that's what the carrot is. And it's a great tournament, from facilities all the way down. But what we're trying to preach the Title IX to these girls, because a lot of them don't know what's been paid before them, and it's a lot of knowledge that they get at the conference. The conference is the meat of what we're trying to do, and we have a lot of workshops that are pertinent to what's going on now in America, from bullying, from using social networks properly, to being able to be financially sound when it comes to getting ready for the next level, as well as how to be recruited. A lot of the kids think I go out there and play, the coaches see me and they gonna call me. They don't know that they looking at you when you walk in the gym, when you sit down, the way you drink your water and everything else. They watching as the whole person. So what we're trying to present to you is all this knowledge you can take with you back to your state and say, this is first class. I mean, we don't try to do it any other way. We try to make sure they're in great accommodations. The conference, like I said, was the biggest one ever. The event is the biggest one ever. And next year we're looking to go to 24 teams and just make it even bigger. We want to have 3 brackets. We want to invite more teams. We want to have a great time. And the kids, you can just see the smiles on their faces going to a nice hotel and just being treated like they are who they really are, which is superstars. And that's our job, to make sure they feel that way. And this conference allows them to get that treatment, get some good basketball, and leave with a ton of knowledge that they probably didn't have when they walked in the door.